Welcome everyone to Generation Dan. We were originally thinking of celebrating Thanksgiving, but we all hate our families, so we're going to celebrate National Pickle Month here on Generation Dan because that seems like an idea. Hey Cole, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Okay.
Not celebrated, no, not November. Yeah,
Bro, I had a competition that I had advertised here a while back, and it was my bout in the semifinals was the day after. It was November 2nd, and I was like, "Yo, no, November started. Just so you guys know, I lasted 10 hours. I was asleep for 9 of those hours. Just to be clear, I'm like, that's why I lasted. I'm like, that's just not a thing. You guys, not pounding one out at least every 3 days is proven to be unhealthy. So people out there, if you're practicing No Nut November, congratulations, you're damaging your body. Which in this day and age, that makes you cool. So Atlas is running late, everyone, just so you know. He's living in California. That's what he does. I don't know. Time doesn't work. They live in the nexus of the universe, I feel like. It's coming up to his wedding, so I'm assuming he's slowly just losing his mind. That seems like a reasonable event. Because I've never met anyone who hasn't, as the days have gotten closer to the wedding, where they're just like completely frazzled, trying to figure things out. And I was like, even my second time around, I'm like, we'll figure it out.
No is it like, how are we going to put Uncle Jim and Aunt Sally together, or is it more like I'm fixing to give away my whole life? Like, what is it? What's the difference?
Well, I think it's a combination of those things because it's the idea that people want to be considered as if they're important when in actuality they're not, right? No, this is my day. And that's the thing is like my first wedding, I had 420 people invited, 416 showed up. And like I knew everybody.
You said more people showed up?
No, 4 people were missing. It was a family of 6 that they said all 6 were going to come. Only 2 showed up, and they gave me an envelope with $20. And I'm like, fuck you, you pieces of shit. But you know, whatever, that's fine. That's on them. I hope they just living their life. You know, they got a free meal. It was a delicious meal. It was prime rib. So I just love when. So this was the other thing was that when I was getting married to Victoria, they were like, okay, so you have prime rib, you have a fish option. Do you want vegetarian? And I'm like, no. Like if somebody wants vegetarian, they can order the beef and eat the vegetables. It's fine. And they go, oh, but why not? And I'm like, well, do I get a discount if they order vegetarian? And she goes, no. I go, then why would I do that? It's not an option. And then someone complained, I want a vegetarian option. I'm like, order the beef. You get vegetables. It's fine. And they were like, oh, could you please? And I'm like, no, don't come. I'm like, just don't come. If you're so adamant that you can only eat vegetables and it can't even touch meat, yeah, go somewhere else. No problem. Eat shit. That's not, you're trying to stipulate. It was funny because it was a girl that we wanted to have come, and she asked if she could have a +1, which was her on again, off again boyfriend, which I'm like, that's cool, whatever. And he was like, I'm a vegetarian, so can you ask them for a vegetarian dish? And I was like, oh, the guy who's not even invited? Yeah, no, I don't care about him. And my wife was like, oh, but I'm like, hold on, are you choosing to side with the person that's not even invited to our wedding over your soon-to-be husband? And she just looked at me. She was like, that's a good point. I'm like, I'm full of good points.
Oh, shit, it's a good point.
It's a great point. That's why, like, something somebody told me, which actually proved out to be very accurate, was when you're planning a wedding, what you want to do is you have to consider a lot of people. Like, you know, Uncle Joe and Aunt Sally don't get along, don't sit them together and everything, which, if you want, be an adult. It's a wedding. Get fucked.
Right. That's how I feel about it.
But what you can do is pick one person that you don't like and do everything that will annoy the fuck out of them.
See, that's where I was gonna go. I was about to say, like, saying that in theory, being an adult is like, sure. Yeah, okay, in theory. But I'm the type of guy that if there are people there that don't like me,
Oh,
or I just don't like them. It don't matter. I'm gonna do everything in my power to be extra me that day.
exactly. Listen, people, be yourself unapologetically. Okay, that is the key to happiness. That is just okay. Hold on, Atlas might be texting right now. Nope, somebody else, because I have a show after this. FYI, if anyone's in the Ajax or Pickering area, please feel free to show up to Harwood Blues at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing some comedy and messing with people because that's what I do. Your chewing is like ridiculously loud. I love it. It's fantastic. No, but look, that's the thing is people wanting special treatment on your wedding day is absolutely ridiculous. And the man who we've been talking about this whole time, hi,
Alex. What's up, guys?
Not much. We've just been you said 5 to 10 minutes. You're 6 minutes. It's perfect. If anything,
yeah,
you're a man of your word.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I've been talking with Cole about how you can make your wedding better just for you. Number 1, don't have a vegetarian dish. Get fucked. Number 2 is
that's impossible in California, though. Come on now.
I feel like
you got more vegetarians there, I think, than meat eaters.
Right? Yeah. That's tough.
You probably should just get no meat dishes and be like, y'all, everybody eats vegetables.
I went to a vegetarian wedding once, and I told Victoria, because me and Victoria, and I was like, take money out of that envelope. I'm like, I'm not paying for vegetables. That's bullshit. And we took out an extra $60, and I'm like, this is like $200. This is like a long time ago, right? So I'm like, take $60 out. I'm not paying full price for vegetables. That's bullshit. They did have an open bar though, which I did enjoy that.
I feel like after 3 drinks, then that's paid for itself. No.
I'm not a lightweight, right? So I'm like a 20 drink kind of guy.
Okay, here's the other thing: that like not having a vegetarian dish versus having a vegetarian dish. Yeah. Like I still get meat, so what does it matter if?
Well, so this is what we were talking about specifically, was the fact that a lot of other people want to be there. They want to be considered on your special day, which, in my opinion, is insane. Because no, I'm asking you to grow up and attend my special day. Put aside your differences. Put on your big boy pants or big girl. 2023. No hate. Your big person pants. And just help me enjoy my day because I would like you in attendance. Now, the fact that people are like, no, I have to be considered. Guess what? Why don't you go to Burger King before and show up for dancing later? Eat shit.
Nobody asked us to do vegetarian stuff.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's very thoughtful.
It's just
I think that's more our generation, though, Atlas. Where our generation is we would rather be polite than seem like a dick. It really is. It is, and it's almost an inconvenience on ourselves in a lot of situations. Like some situations is great, like weddings. Like, who gives a fuck? Nobody cares about your opinion anyway. It's not your wedding. But other situations, people you get passed over on promotions and shit like that because we're too polite in a lot of situations.
That's not wrong, right? But that being passed over for that kind of stuff has happened since the dawn of time, right? It's whoever touched each other's wiener, male wiener or lady wiener, either one.
Has Back to the Future taught you people nothing? No.
The only way is to become a time traveler, and that's how you get successful people.
I've more made the whole movie is like teaching his dad to be less of a wimp and stand up for himself.
Well, see, that's the thing is I find that if you are actively cowering from your existence, it's only a matter of time before that feeling gets overwhelming. And if you're actively a piece of shit, it's only a matter of time before that too becomes overwhelming, because essentially everyone will abandon you in your existence, right? So you have to balance, hey, I'm going to take second string for a little while versus no, I need to stand up. So it's a balance between those things that create a manageable existence, let's call it.
You have to be a compassionate douchebag, is what he's saying.
You know what?
The way you word that makes it sound like people are constantly under like I don't know. It's like the intro from the '70s Hulk, the being able to control the raging beast inside him. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, look, but that's the thing is if you live as a person that is harmless, you will never be considered. And if you actively live as a monster, people will actively avoid you, right? So the key is that you have to learn to be a peaceable person. I want peace, but if you want violence, I am your huckleberry. Thanks, Polar Knights. We love you too.
Compassionate douchebag might be the episode title. I haven't decided yet.
Which technically does go with Thanksgiving. Like, let's be honest.
That's true.
It is like
as a matter of fact, that's when you should be a compassionate douchebag. Is that Thanksgiving?
Polar Knights, if you happen to be here after I shaved for my Halloween costume, like it's back pretty much. So.
Yeah. But it is like
this is actually pretty clean shaven for all three of us.
It's
to be honest.
I'm looking. I took 7 grams of mushrooms yesterday, and then I looked in the mirror.
You do.
That's a mistake, just so you know. Looking in the mirror after taking mushrooms is a mistake. And I did, and I was wearing a hoodie up, and it kind of had my ears sticking out. And then I kind of looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh, shit, I look like a chimpanzee. Which I was like, I'm not against, because they're kind of badass, but at the same time, you know, it's very revealing. And I'm like, we're only just monkeys standing.
I'm imagining, like, Dino's making that same face, like, if you've ever had a cat, and like when you were a kid and you'd walk up to the mirror and be like, that's you. And the cat's like, get me the fuck out of here. I don't want to be.
Kind of. Because I even, listen, I even was so far to go like, I'm like, yeah. I could definitely pass for a monkey. That's fine. Don't shave. Some of us can't risk getting a beard. Keep it free. You know what? Listen, it is a beard is good for so many things. You get punched in the face, less chance of impact to your face. It's cold outside. It's like a natural face scarf. Like there's a lot of benefits.
Getting fat, ta-da, instant chin. Yeah.
Also true.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen? Okay, who are they? Good Mythical Morning. Rhett and Link. The one of them, the tall one, has no chin. Like
that's
zero.
Rhett, I think, is the tall one.
I believe so. And you're like, he has a beard, and you're like, oh, it's a good-looking guy. And then they're like, this is a picture without a beard, and you're like, oh, Jesus, he's got no chin. It's horrific.
I know, because like they had been they've been on Epic Rap Battles of History a couple times.
Okay.
And it's like you can tell that whenever they're being used, it's always somebody who has a beard on purpose. Yeah. Like they used them for like Lewis and Clark or the Renaissance painters versus the Ninja Turtles. So they had Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael against their corresponding turtle.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
And yeah, you can tell that was used on purpose. They're like, all right, we're never bringing you guys back for somebody without a beard.
That's fair. And also too, like even Victoria will be like, if you shave, just go away for 2 weeks, come back when it's grown. And I'm like, that's
fine. Same with Katie, because like after I shaved for my costume, she's like, if you do this again, if you do a costume where the person is clean shaven, just either have it with a beard or don't fucking come home for 2 weeks.
You like, and you know,
live off the land.
It's one of those things where at the same time, like now that I've lost all the weight, I'm kind of afraid to shave if I'm like, oh, am I still sporting like a horrible double chin? Because I have a big chin. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I'm not sure what to do. It's very confusing. I'll tell you that much. But,
yeah. I'm so glad I don't have a woman telling me what to do with my life. I just pay my bills and go home. That's it. And I drink when I want to drink. I watch what I want to watch on TV. I play video games as long as I want. You know, I jerk off to porn whenever I feel like it. You know, I'm so glad. Like I'm happy for you guys. You know, married and soon to be, but it's not the lifestyle I want for me.
Dino, this is Cole every night. He sits down. All around me are familiar faces.
100%.
Just alone in the darkness.
Yeah, he walks in his house. He doesn't turn
my light on at all.
It's just like darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, that's it.
100%. Yeah. He's just sitting there looking out the window.
Not even.
Yeah, that's fair. Listen. There are certain elements, and I encourage everyone to live on their own. and also with others. Like, have those experiences, because having a roommate, you'll realize, oh, I need to get my shit together because I hate fucking people. They're the worst, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just you will just immediately be like, oh, people are the worst. If you go back to some of our previous episodes, you'll hear Atlas ranting and raving about his previous roommates because he had two. And just look up Generation Dan Fog Machine. And there's so many points where he's like, why do you have to rent a fog machine? He's like, but it'll be cool. He's like, no one cares. It's just us. It was very...
Cole, were you around during this time, or?
I don't know.
Probably. I feel like I definitely saw you bitch about your roommates. But around that same time when I was co-host with you guys, I had roommates too. You know, I'm going on 9 months of living by myself for the most part. My brother is here. He don't really live here,
but he's kind of a ghost too. Like,
he's here, yeah, but he's like not here right now. Like, I made him get a job and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why he's here, because he can't get a job. But
that's a reasonable. Yeah, he's like a cat, right? Like, he just hangs out and
pretty much. I mean, well, he was one of the ones that lived here before, but now he don't have like free reign in my apartment anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he was one of my roommates, and I kicked him out. And now my mom kicked him out, and he's back over here. But I'm like, you gotta get your shit together, bro. Like,
right? Like,
you know,
yeah. It's like, see, that's the thing is, when you have roommates, like, you have a certain amount of, you have to interact with people, and then versus you're like, at the same time, you kind of have to be like, hey man, I need you to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
now,
for the night, you're like, not forever. Just fucking go somewhere else and just leave me alone, right? It's fine.
The other weird thing is, like, especially around this time of year, where you either have roommates who do or don't want to decorate the apartment for the holidays. It never seems to match, right? See that aforementioned fog machine story. TLDR.
If somebody wants to decorate, let them decorate. Who the fuck cares? It's just don't make.
I like
want to decorate. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to decorate, but if somebody wants to decorate, I'm not going to be like, "Ooh, why do you decorate?"
Mm-hmm. No. It's more so of the choice of decorations is more the concern, right? Because some
you don't get to choose.
I don't
you
think
don't decorate. You don't get to choose.
Okay, so my problem is the day. So, like, when I got home from work on Halloween, okay, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning when I was getting home because we had a little after party. It was a good time. So as I'm getting home, I'm coming down my street, or the street that my street's off of, and I see someone's house full of Christmas decorations, and I'm like, bro,
a little early for that.
Hours into November, you have a sickness. Like, you have a problem.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Halloween's not even really over yet. It's still like dark.
Yeah.
It's not even the next day. Like, you need to calm down.
I just love the idea of somebody standing there, like the last trick or treater's gone home. He's standing there with with the blow up Santa, and he's like, "All right,
1, 2,
12 on, let's go!" And then just like,
because midnight's a big part of Halloween. You know what I mean? So you have to like figure what time do you do that? Like 2 in the morning? It's not even daylight savings time yet, bro. Like, come on.
But that's the thing is, like, the only thing that I can consider is that they did it in the middle of October when it was still warmer because they didn't want to have to put it up in the cold. And I'm like, I kind of understand that, but you're still going to have to take it down in the cold. So I'm like, why? That seems a little bit foolish, but, you know.
And like, for like this time of year for Thanksgiving, okay, Dino, did you grow up in Toronto or?
Yeah.
All right. Cole, Cleveland?
No, Texas.
All right. Okay. So the idea of like you're living with roommates, and then the idea of like going home for Thanksgiving for this time of year, like for the people who like, I haven't lived outside of LA, and my family is in LA, so I've never had the thing of like, oh, I'm going home for Thanksgiving.
Oh, like the Hallmark movie? Like you went home and rekindled some relationship because you were there for a week? No, nothing like that.
Nope, just fucking lived in LA. That's the problem with like being a comedian, is that where else am I supposed to go?
Fair question.
New York?
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's, I don't know. Like, I know that the people have said that, like, you should live in New York for some time before, like, live long enough in New York before it makes you too hard, live long enough in LA before it makes you too soft, right? Like, those
Never
two
heard that.
comparisons. Oh, the rest of the world talks about LA that way, just so you know.
It definitely makes sense, for sure.
Yeah. Because, like, look, you guys are swarmed with people who, like, have friends but are in therapy when you have to talk about your problems. You're like, you know what? You could just have friends and just talk. It's just
So everybody in California, everybody I know, at least Southern California, everybody I know who lives in Southern California has a therapist. And that's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just odd.
Look, like, that's not a dig against therapy. What that is a dig against not being able to maintain friendships where you can talk about real things. Okay, because look,
that's just like a problem with men. That's the problem. That's a problem for like men in general, and especially for millennials and Zoomers. Where like we just have a problem with friendships, like in adulthood. Like in high school, it's more doable, but in adulthood, where you're not forced to be in the same place every day.
Yeah.
By
the pandemic probably like made that worse.
Yes.
Honestly,
for sure.
COVID and all that.
But the real problem is, millennials and Zoomers were parented by monsters. Like, that's really what it is. Like, you guys weren't. You were parented by people who are like, I'm going to do things differently. Not good. Not a good way. Just different from how they're raised. And you're like, listen, that's not a solution. That's you just made it worse. So
I have many friends who were babysat by SpongeBob SquarePants. So.
Oh, there are a lot of adults who are still babysat by
30-year-olds, 30-year-old people who their entire childhood was Squidward and Patrick and Sandy.
Yeah. I get it, but also a little bit of Batman in there. Some G.I. Joe, I think, would have.
Oh yeah, Batman the animated series, the one from the 90s.
That's the one with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. You're like, listen. It's fantastic, okay? It's a fantastic series. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor. Go watch that. God.
So,
yeah.
Like, being that... So, this episode is going to be coming out on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy American Thanksgiving. Shut up,
Only
Dino.
for Americans. For the rest of the world, it's just November. That's it. It's just November. We have Thanksgiving when it's supposed to be as a harvest festival in October. That's fine.
Anyway.
Y'all don't have a holiday in November in the rest of the world?
Thanksgiving. No, in November?
No, like, do you have like a corresponding
there's Remembrance Day, which is like a bank holiday. Okay. I think some other things.
Banks don't deserve holidays.
Yeah.
Cole, their Remembrance Day is like our Veterans Day.
Yeah. It's just better and cool.
I don't celebrate that either, but okay.
Yeah. And then, like, you died in a war. That sucks later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, for veterans, it's you survived a war. Welcome back, and sorry about that. Memorial Day is you died in a war.
I don't even remember when Veterans Day is, except for like when I have an actual job, and then like a bunch of people are yelling at me, "Do y'all have free coffee today?"
Yeah.
I think so. That's it. That's the only. I'm like, it must be Veterans Day.
And then meanwhile,
PTSD. I like it.
Meanwhile, up in Canada, in Flanders Fields. Yeah.
Bro, there were some teachers like, you guys have to memorize this, and I'm like, Jehovah's Witness, I'm a pacifist. Leave me out of this. You guys are weird. Did you wear your poppy? And I'm like, no.
Okay, so for American Thanksgiving or Canadian Thanksgiving in October, who was the worst? Let me fucking get to the thing. Okay. Who was the worst relative at your Thanksgivings growing up?
My mom.
Continue.
Yeah.
And I gotta go and do it again this year, like every year.
It continues to be a thing. Got it.
Yeah. My mom is like was a fun sucker. Like, she just sucks the fun out of everything. So, woo! I love her. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, well, it's genetic.
Stockholm syndrome. You know.
Yeah, that's a little Stockholm syndrome. That's for sure. For sure.
Well, now she's starting to get to the point where she's like she's past her peak. You know, she's starting to get older. You know, so it's like all right. Well, now she's starting to turn into that little old lady that's just a bitch now. You know, like you can just okay.
So this is for everyone watching. Just know that you can immediately know how bad of a person someone was in their youth and adult life by how religious they become when they're staring death in the eyes. Okay. So as it gets closer to the end, they start being like, "Hey, do you remember the guy from The Mummy who's like all the little charms? He's like, oh, all these different prayers," and you're like, that's how you know that guy was a piece of shit. He's like,
that is hands down the funniest scene in like Hollywood has ever come up with. Is that when he's busting out the fucking Jewish star and the cross and like
everything.
All of it. I watched that movie probably 6 months ago and I forgot that had happened. And I was dying laughing. I was like, oh my God.
But that's
100% me as fuck though in that situation. The mummy comes walking out towards me. I'm like, fuck, what do I remember from fucking Catholic school?
Not enough, I'll tell you that much. But like, just so you know, that's the thing is when people start getting older, they start forgetting. Like it's weird. They try and recreate themselves as this different thing, and you're like, who the fuck are you trying to be different to? Yo, that's not. No. I know exactly who you are, and they're like, no, that was never me, and you're like, that was always you.
We call that gaslighting in this generation.
Oh, it's worse than gaslighting because they're gaslighting themselves. You're like, there's a special place of psychosis for that one. I'll tell you that.
My mom does that too. She swears. She's like, I didn't hit y'all that much. I'm like, Mom, I've blacked out from you hitting me more times than you are claiming to have hit me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Like you hit me with shit, like weapons, like shoes and like kitchen and appliances and shit like that. And you're telling me you're gonna look me in the eye and say you didn't hit me. You're gonna look me down. I'm not like crying about it. I'm not being a little girl about it or whatever, a little bitch about it.
Yeah.
I deserved it. You know what I mean? Like I was a little shithead. But you're gonna sit here and tell me you didn't hit me. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, then she's like, no, like once maybe, and you're like, once? Are you crazy? Like, I was fortunate enough that I called my dad out once about him not being someone that I could approach to talk to, and my mom almost choked on her dinner, and Victoria actually witnessed it. And my dad was like, all right, maybe you have a point. Maybe I wasn't approachable, and I'm like, yeah, you weren't approachable. That's a scientific fact, okay? But like we never like so for us because we had like we all lived under the same roof for a lot of time. Like I had a lot of siblings, and then we all worked at my dad's shop and stuff for a lot of years, right? Whenever it was like a holiday, like Thanksgiving or Christmas, it was more so an excuse to like, okay, who's gonna make it, and we all get together as a family, and like we would invite like in-laws and everything. Like, oh, the in-laws want to have something. Okay, do you have room for everybody? Great, let's go there. Like it was always. Yeah. It was an excuse because none of us celebrated, but it was just an excuse where we all have a day off. Let's enjoy our day.
Okay.
You know? So but also too, like we didn't drink or anything. Like that was the whole thing. Like have 2 drinks. That's it. You never had more than 2 drinks because you're like after 2 drinks, shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
So, but
so
there's also
you never had somebody who like got wasted and like flying off at the mouth or anything, or
no. Like that's the thing too is it was me and I was gigantic for most of that time, and then like my siblings who were like my 2 oldest brothers, one is 10 years older, the other one's 12 years older, and they were very used to throwing hands, let's say that. So it was like if somebody was like, I have a problem, they're like, sounds good, let's do it, and they're like, no, we can just have a polite conversation. Yeah, it was. We were like, "Oh, you want to do something? Let's go down to the like." This was the thing: is every time
I'm thinking of like Zeke from Bob's Burgers. They're like, "Come here, I'm gonna wrestle you!" Like just kind that, so, but Canadian.
At every point of a family get together, there would be a time where we'd be like, "Hey, you guys want to go hang out in the basement?" Like someone would say all nonchalant, and like then all the let's call them military-aged men would all be like, yeah, let's go hang out in the basement. We can watch TV there. We'll watch something interesting.
And then you're walking down the stairs, Fight Club.
100%. And the keys are, listen, don't break any bones and nothing on the face. Go.
Yeah.
And it was submission rules. And you're like, oh, bro, like people got hurt. Like once my brother...
Why inside of all places? Why not go outside?
Because it's fucking
cold.
Toronto, you idiot.
It's cold as shit outside, bro. And also, too, hey,
perfect place to allow yourself to cool off.
Number one, there's ice on the ground, bad footing. Number two, snow to the eyeballs, you're gonna catch something because snow.
I mean, I'm 100% talking shit because, like I said, I grew up in Southeast Texas.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not. It's like you might see snow once every 10 years, and that's in like a deep January.
And if they do see it, the entire like weather
shut it down.
Shut
everything. You're not going nowhere anyway. You know, and it's never in Thanksgiving time. It's closer to like Valentine's Day than anything.
Yeah,
you know,
businesses and power grids shut down as soon as there's snow. Just shut it all down. You got nothing. Atlas, what about you? What was your experience, sir?
So, being that most of my like time growing up was spent with my parents divorcing. So from the ages of 10 to 18 was them being divorced from each other.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's how long they were divorced, not how long they're
divorcing in court.
In process. Now, like,
honestly, 8 years?
8 years.
I feel like have you guys seen the meme where there's a husband and wife at a dinner table or like a restaurant table, and the waitress is young and cute, and he goes, "Hi, how are you?" And the wife is like, "Why don't you introduce her to your erectile dysfunction?" And he's like, "Oh, this is my wife, my erectile dysfunction." And I'm just like, I feel like that would have been how that divorce went, like just immediately violence.
No, it wasn't like a mutual thing where my dad was like, "Oh, I hate her too." It was my mom couldn't put up with the fact that he wasn't really doing much besides like, okay, here's your money. I'm not gonna be there as a person. And like
California.
What?
That's
California.
Like, it's not
that's
even,
what I'm supposed to do.
That's all a husband's supposed to do.
You
have all the money you need. I gotta go back to work, but you're safe, provided for, you're good. I'm out.
Yeah, but it's just not what my mom wanted out of that marriage. And
right, it's California. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a California thing. The Midwest, the wife doesn't want a husband there.
Yeah.
Like
she's paying the bills with the husband's money, and she's cooking dinner and cleaning the house. And she's like, "Hey, honey, I want a pool." He's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to work, but listen, we'll get
that's what he thought that's what he assumed how it worked.
Every man wants that. Just to be very clear, every man in the universe is like, that's exactly what I want. I don't want to have to worry about shit. And you're like, oh, I don't acknowledge kids until they actually are real people and are earning, unless they're contributing, not real people. No thanks.
I don't want to work. I don't want to go to work.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so, I'm on Cole's side. I don't want to be like the like boring ass, like, here's your money, I'm going back to work. Dad, I don't think I want to be that as a person.
I think that bars exist, like specifically for after work for guys who don't want to go home. Like that's the whole point, right?
Which is honestly, I've never understood the bar, which that makes sense why, because I don't like going to the bar.
Yeah,
I'd rather be at home where I paid for.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Anyway,
so most of like our Thanksgivings was like, oh, we had a couple friends over. Then we went to this person. Like, it was never quite the same every year. Like, the common denominator was me, my mom, my sister, and then wherever it is we were that year. And then, or maybe one year I was at my dad's place, and then it was with him and his wife's, like, her family and stuff. So, like, it just never quite was the same. I can say that of the Thanksgivings that I have been to, the worst is kind of like Cole's answer, when my mom would freak out about something trivial and not necessarily like she would just make a mountain out of a molehill for something stupid. Like, oh my god, I overcooked the stuffing, it's ruined. I'm like, we don't care. Like, it's fine. Like, yeah.
We had, I remember once, me and my best friend, we lived together for a short period of time, and we wanted to do a Thanksgiving dinner for everybody. It might have been Christmas, I'm not sure. For us, the same. It might have been Thanksgiving, I forget. But we made the turkey and we like wrapped it in bacon, and then we had a tray underneath. It was great. And you know what? The problem was that the tray had a hole in it, so all the juice leaked into the oven.
No.
So we still
start a fire.
No, it was fine. The turkey was great, and we had a bottle of wine, but then didn't have a proper cork
opener,
wine bottle.
While we're talking about this, I recently discovered online, you take a screw and a power drill, you drill the fucking screw out,
and then you pull the screw.
Yeah, you just pull it straight out. So I was like, oh my god, how many times did I have power tools and didn't fucking realize you could do that? No corkscrew.
No. I, however, instead took a chopstick and just pushed the cork in, not considering the.
I've done that too. I've done that a million times.
Because I was cooking, I was just in like jogging pants and like a white t-shirt, and then I poked through, and wine just went. Bah! So I had like a bullet shot right on my chest the entire meal. And there's a picture somewhere, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not changing. I'm wearing this like a badge of honor. I got the wine open. Fuck you guys.
Hey, you know what? At least it's better than spatchcocking your turkey. If you want, for people who want another great Generation Dan episode, Spatchcocked, which I think was with Nina Dicker.
Probably.
I think. I have to go back and look. But
yeah, I remember talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever spatchcocked a turkey and you're like, she's hilarious? He said she's a nice lady.
Yeah,
we had fun on Hammered and Cheese with her, and
it was a good episode. I watched it.
Absolutely shit faced, which I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, episode 101, Spatchcocked featuring Nina Dicker.
There you go. That's the thing is like, there's too much. Every time I've invited people over for cooking, like when I was cooking a meal, I'm like, hey, just so you know, we might be having pizza, and they're like, it smells delicious. And I'm like, for now. Don't know how it'll taste. So
hole in the tray could set the oven on fire.
Also possible. But I'm like, yeah.
Denny's is always open on Thanksgiving.
That's listen, pizza. I'm like, listen, just so you know, I'm like, we're eating what we're eating. Who knows? Maybe something cooked, maybe something I ordered. But I'm just saying there will be food. And people are saying,
that's the worst though. It's like if you fuck up Thanksgiving dinner or any holiday dinner, everywhere's closed for the most part. So you're like, you're kind of fucked, you know? Like
that's why you got to buy backup of whatever the thing is, or cook it in advance. Like
it's like 7 DiGiorno pizzas. You're like, I'm good. That's
like okay. So now that I'm going to her family's Thanksgiving, I can now start taking notes on like, you know, this is
what a real family is like.
Kind of, yeah. Like I'm seeing these people every year.
Yeah, I know. I spent 7 years with my baby mama, and her fucking family, they're like passive aggressive. If you're like me, you don't catch everything right away because me and her, we would always come up, and she's like, I can't believe them, and I'm like, it was so much fun. Are you kidding me? Nobody yelled, nobody broke nothing.
Yeah.
Everything was chill. Everybody finished their plate without like cussing everybody out. She's like, no, didn't you hear my mom just say the thing that she said? I'm like, no, actually. No.
Yeah. It's like Katie is the one who freaks out the most in the moment. She's like, oh my God, that was awful. I'm like, what are you talking? I had a great time. Everyone else seemed like they were having a great time. She was panicking that I was saying something or I did some sort of slight or something. I don't know.
Great. See, that's the thing is people have to understand that, number one, who cares? Like, honestly, it's more so that the fact that you have people to get together with, like, the whole point of Thanksgiving is a day off. Like, I try and explain this to my wife for years, and she's finally taken it in and embraced it, was the idea that I'm like, hey, think about it this way. A statutory holiday, the government, who is the absolute worst, is like, yo, you deserve a break. Like, the government says you need a break. Don't plan anything. Let's just enjoy ourselves. And like, especially now where there's so much stuff that people are just like, absolutely like, bro, if it's a holiday, pizza, Chinese food, immediately will always be open. I'm like, there's always good stuff open around here. So I'm like,
I do Chinese food every Christmas.
I've
done that for 10 years.
I didn't know you were Jewish, but that's good.
As a cashew, I have definitely done the Chinese food. thing.
Sure. Who doesn't like Chinese? Like, and you know what? I'll be honest with you. So, my best friend and I, we both married Asian women. So, whenever we would suggest like ordering Chinese food, they're like, "That's disgusting. That's not Chinese food," because it's Americanized, obviously, right? But I'm like, when they're like they were both busy and we were both at home, it was like, feel like some chicken balls, and I'm like, let's get like 7 orders of chicken balls and that red sauce. And honestly, and that's all we ate. And he's like, it's so good. And we would get rid of the evidence. And my wife would be like, why does your apartment smell weird? And I'm like, we ordered Chinese food. He's like, you're not supposed to tell them. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's my wife.
Yeah.
It's like getting Dairy Queen on the way home. And I'm like, yeah, they ran out after they paid mine. Sorry, I didn't bring anything.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely done the, like, get Chick-fil-A when I'm going out for a mic or something. And then she comes back, why do you smell like chicken? The club smelled like that.
Yeah.
Like
they had a chicken fire. Everything smelled like chicken. Yeah.
I was cheating.
What are you doing in there? Drugs. I didn't get any chicken. I'm doing drugs. I have a drug problem. Thank you. Yeah, no, that's totally reasonable. That
smells like pimento cheese. You have the new honey pimento. I can't remember what the sandwich was. Damn it.
That somebody be like, let me smell your breath. What have you been eating? You're like, get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of my face.
Get out of here.
That's the other thing too. Like, I don't know how you put up with it, Dino, because like, I'm trying to think. I think I like bought a Reuben sandwich one time from a deli.
Oh, love a good Reuben.
Right, and my ex, Irish girl, she's first gen American. You know, her whole family's Irish. Yeah. She's like, I could just make you a better Reuben. And I'm like, all right, well, do it then. Like nut up or shut up. Why are you talking shit? Like,
no, and you know what?
I don't ever see you making them.
That's the one thing. Like, Victoria has been actually. I'm like, hey, if you think if you can do these at home, I would eat them here. And she's like, okay. And then she takes it as a challenge, and sometimes I have this wild stuff, bro. And it's worked out great. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Hey, so I was watching the 70s Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the other day.
Oh, like the real one? Yeah. Okay.
And I was thinking, so like after every kid, fucks up and they have their little like Oompa Loompa song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there was at least one Oompa Loompa who didn't know which song they were about to do, and they're like, I'm just going to lip sync, and the rest of them will cover me?
Oh, I think there's more than one.
Because it's the same basic song every time. The Oompa Loompa Doopa Doo Doo. Like, he starts that, and he's like goes into like Violet Beauregard's one, and he's like, oh shit, we're on Augustus Gloop, fuck. Like,
there were probably like 6 Oompa Loompas out of like hundreds that are like, we can sing, don't worry, just follow our lead. And they are the ones who would do the little,
yeah,
what do you do when you eat a lot of fat? It's just whatever. Yeah, that's fine. It's the other ones are just like, I'm just gonna kick and swing my arms over here. Yeah, no, I'm a Oompa Loompa just like the other ones. No problem. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like it must have been harder. Like in the 2000s one, all of the songs differ by like musical style, and the lyrics are vastly different and all that stuff. So like they're fucked if they don't know what the song is. Like,
like that. See that the idea that it had to be complex. You're like, bro, no, it's an orange midget.
Yeah,
I'm good. They could be like,
I just love the idea of like the one who had to run the 70s, like the lettering popping up, right? Where he's like, okay, I need the sweets to like come on the screen, right? Where it's like, we're doing it, we're on Voluka Salt, damn it! Like,
Are you telling me that the Oompa Loompas and the Johnny Depp Charlie and the Chocolate Factory weren't Donald Trump's like kids when they were young? I thought this the entire time.
No, they were the stars from Jersey Shore as kids. It's all orange skin.
Yeah,
that's a little more. It was a combination. The singing ones were Trump children. The non-singing ones, Jersey Shore.
This is what happens when you take weed dummies and watch 70s movies that. Like, just,
movies didn't start getting good. Like, the first 2 good movies were in the 70s. It was The Godfather, which I really can't watch. It's so long and kind of drawn out. But it was a beautiful movie. And then fucking Rocky. Everybody wants to say Star Wars. It wasn't Star Wars. Star Wars
was like later
Empire,
in the decade. Yeah,
it's Empire, not Star Wars. Star Wars, you're like,
Empire was good. Empire was good, but A New Hope, I don't understand why they got a sequel in the first place. When you watch A New Hope, you're like,
A New Hope is the story of the Taliban. Thank you very much. I'm like, it's a young man radicalized by an old religion in the desert and kills his father. Like,
no, but then you got shit like
bro.
Blazing Saddles and Taxi Driver and
garbage.
That's it.
Garbage.
Hear no evil, see no evil. Hey, what's happening, sir?
Hey, Serge. Yeah.
The most watchable movie from the 70s was Rocky. And I'll stand by that. The 80s is where like movies started to like make sense. Like, let's go to the movies. Because if you told me, if I was a kid in the 70s, teenager, 20 years old or whatever in the 70s, you want to go to the movies? Fucking no, man. Like, what the fuck?
But also, there was like 4 movies a year. You're like, that was
that's true.
There's not.
Yeah,
like everything else was not. You're like, it's a documentary. I'm just going to read this book on.
Yeah, the concept of like 80s movies is Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
All that Ghostbusters, Back to the Future 2, Jurassic Park's the 90s.
Brat Pack,
the Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, all that stuff. Like it's
a lot of. See, that's the thing is like
Die Hard.
The problem, Die Hard. Come on,
Die Hard was the 90s, wasn't it? Oh no, it was the 80s. It was the 80s.
It's like late 80s though, which is basically the 90s. That's like there's that weird time where everyone's like, we're gonna redo that. You're like, or you could do something totally different. And Cole's just
he's gone. Okay.
Yeah, well, he's like a ghost.
Yeah.
Just appears and disappears.
So this is what happens when you take weed dummies and watch movies from the 70s.
I can imagine. Listen, there's see what I've been doing is when I've been taking mushrooms, usually what I would do is I would take mushrooms and then have everything off and just like stare into the universe. There's cool.
Do you have a like movie from like the 70s you like to watch, or like a movie that you like to watch for Thanksgiving?
For Thanksgiving,
because like there are Thanksgiving movies, right? You have like your Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's Katie's family's, and
to be honest,
I like to watch the Cowboys lose and the Lions win. Football. I like to get drunk.
Yeah. And then
there is some game that happens every Thanksgiving, right? No, there's New Year's Day, which is the hockey. There's a hockey game on New Year's Day. The hockey NHL Classic or something that's like old school teams kind of bullshit, but I don't know.
My accent just got a little more Canadian just from hearing that sentence.
A boot.
Yeah,
I like watching the parade, and I'm a father, like as a I don't know what you really is 8 a small child?
No, it's just a kid. He's just a kid.
Yeah. Because when I was a kid, I mean, as I got older, the parade never was. I was like, well, we're gonna watch people walk and wave. Like, go fuck yourself.
No, you're watching it because of the float. That like you're going like. I never
but now that my kid's old enough to watch it, I'm like, hey, look, it's the whatever the fuck thing, and he's like, yeah. It's more fun that way now.
So the truth is, Cole, you were just a shitty child. You were just like, I don't give a shit about anything. Maybe you were emo. I don't know.
I don't know. I deal with that a lot now. Still, a lot of people are like, "Why are you such a dick?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I just hate everything. Yeah, that's okay. No, but it's a weird thing. Like, listen, you gotta like. There's a reason, especially like Thanksgiving too, where like. There's a lot of hate on Thanksgiving that is completely valid and warranted, which I'm like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. But at the same time, you're kind of going like, it's a weird time for that kind of holiday, right? Because everybody is like, no, we've got to live in the past. And you're like, or we could just calm the fuck down and just
racism.
Yeah. Well,
can we just eat the turkey? Can we just eat the turkey?
See, and that's why it's confusing. Like it's I feel like, and I even made this in the description for this, where I'm like, I feel like Thanksgiving is like an amuse-bouche turkey for your Christmas turkey. Like it's a weird situation where you're kind of going, this is our pre-turkey turkey.
I don't eat turkey on Christmas. I mean, I've never have.
Why not? Isn't turkey for Christmas?
Never.
What do you eat?
Not any of the events I've ever been to.
Isn't that
never even got brought up? Hell, on both.
Pictures of Christmas dinner and people are slicing the. Or a roast? I don't know.
I have always had ham on both.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you, Christmas, I'm not even really trying to eat nothing. I'm just like getting smashed from the moment I open my eyes to the very end. So I don't even know.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the last 10 years I ordered Chinese because, like, that was my own thing that has slowly become my family's thing too. Like when they first moved up here 2 or 3 years ago, they're like, "What are we gonna do on Christmas?" It's like I've been ordering Chinese since me and my baby mama started fighting on Christmas. So I'm gonna continue doing that. And they're like, "That's a great idea!" Like,
well, listen, especially if people start complaining about food, like I just saw a TikTok where it was Urkel was at a table and he's like, "Who made the potato salad?" And somebody just loses their fucking mind. It's just like, "God damn it! Why would you ask?" And you're like, "Just relax." You're like, "Is it good? Okay, then just calm down." Like the idea that people have so much animosity for who cooked what, you're like, just maybe relax, just ease out. You don't have to calm down. You have food to eat. Enjoy that. Because honestly, if you cook shit food, I'm just gonna pick up something on the way home, and I don't care.
So what we're doing this year, we're trying something different. Everybody's mostly an adult now in my family, other than my kid. My kid's the only fucking grandchild to my mother. So everybody,
probably a good thing.
We drew like cards, like little flashcards, and you draw the one, and you have to make whatever and bring it to the fucking place or whatever. So fuck these motherfuckers. It's not like you could just show up and not bring nothing. You know what I mean? Like they got to be adults for us.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
I chose turkey because I was like, I'm the only one that can cook a turkey. So like I'm bringing the turkey. All you motherfuckers, I've had y'all's food. Mm-hmm. Y'all can't cook a turkey. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bringing the turkey. Y'all can choose amongst yourselves everything else.
Do yourself a favor. Wrap it in bacon, sir. You will not regret it. And also stuff some a pouch, like get a pouch, like a cheesecloth. Fill it with lemons cut in half, maybe some oranges cut in half, some rosemary and thyme. Tie it and shove it up its keister. Very moist and delicious.
I use Sprite as the I guess the base. It's so delicious. Sprite and butter, I should say.
Now hang on.
I'm not saying it's wrong. Paper. It's probably delicious, but you're a monster as well. Like let's just start there. Speaking of monsters, let's one of the things that is going to be happening this week is Atlas is going to be cooking on Hammered and Cheese.
That's
which
right.
I feel like Tuesday is going to be a test of so many things. I feel like it'll be enjoyable, right?
Now, for people listening to this on Thursday, that episode will still be available for you to go watch.
So we really should be saying, so 2 days ago, y'all need to check out.
Yeah.
Fucking.
A hint on what Atlas will be cooking. The reason is really stupid because
because we're all fucking scientists here. Let's calm down.
Okay. The reason I'm gonna tell you the real reason right now, and you can tell your reason. The real reason is I would not take no for an answer. I was literally holding you by the throat. Pick something, you motherfucker. So go ahead. Go ahead and tell your story.
Well, yeah, because I have this thing where I just hate trying to figure out what to cook just in general. And I was kind of hoping...
You want to come on our show?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought you guys had something lined up, and it's like, go get the ingredients for this. And then
hold on, Atlas. Are you saying a man who is the creator of a podcast about generational differences that's called Generation, and then an acronym of the 3 original hosts, is having a hard time being decisive? I'm surprised. I'm a little surprised.
I think I even said, like, this is bitch shit. Like, this is girl shit. Like, when I was trying to get him to choose. Like,
all right. So, do you want me to say what it is we ended up cooking? All right. Sure. Okay. So there's this YouTuber I like called Senye Grubs, and he has he's like a cooking YouTuber, and he has a series where he makes the favorite foods of dictators, which why the fuck not? So.
Who doesn't love dictators?
I floated a few to Cole. I was like, which one seems the best? And he picked Napoleon. So we are cooking Napoleon's favorite gnocchi.
Yeah.
Because despite being French, he was actually Corsican, which was originally owned by Italy and then later bought by France. So he supposedly.
That makes more sense. I didn't know that.
He supposedly.
Why does it have an Italian guy?
Yeah, he would supposedly speak French with an Italian accent, sort of, like his Corsican accent.
Hey, bonjour!
Italian people speak French with Italian accents, Atlas. That's how that works.
Yeah. So he would get
hey, bonjour, no.
Well, no, because they would send him to boarding school, and then he would get beat up for having a Corsican accent. So
also
he was
like 2 feet tall.
Yeah. So he would go
beat up by French people. That's crazy.
So during a lot of his campaigns, he would make stopovers in Italy for the food.
That makes sense.
So that's what we're cooking is like a gnocchi, which I told this to Katie, who, being that she used to be a professional chef or baker, I guess, got mad at me because she's like, "Why won't you let me make the gnocchi for you?" I'm like, "Just let me have this one thing," because that's another thing I'm afraid to do is just cook for her, because used to be a professional baker. How do you top that?
With gnocchi, you'll see.
Cooking is different. I don't even try to pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to baking. It's a different. They're two different. It's like math and science. You know what I mean? It's two different things altogether. One's a little bit of another thing, but it's a completely different
Those two
ball game.
Math and science are like peanut butter and jam, so technically different, but go together. Let's say they're very different things. Just leave it there. No examples. Just no examples, because
baking is cooking in a way, but it's it's like the nerds area of the kitchen. These are the people who know what they're talking about and went to school, and these are the kids that are gonna smoke pot. You know what I mean?
I think the bakers have more of that chemistry background, right? Because you're like,
right.
This thing.
They're the smart ones of the kitchen. I will give them that.
Do you need baking powder or baking soda? You're like, I'm making fish. Go to fuck.
What's the difference?
Yeah. The one thing I'm better at her at is eggs. That's the only thing I can beat her at. Because she doesn't. Yeah, eggs, like scrambling them. That's the only thing I can beat her at.
All of his wrist exercises have
no.
It's
not that. It's that both her and my mom do this, where they'll leave it on for too long and then it starts to harden.
Yeah.
And
if you're gonna do that, powdered eggs. Don't even bother.
Yeah, no.
Don't use real eggs. You don't use real eggs. They should be moist and delicious.
So you beat the shit out of them and then do it, and while they're still a little runny, you take them off and then they keep cooking. And then it's
right. Why would you walk away from eggs? It takes 2 minutes to cook eggs. No matter which way you cook them.
They do lower heat for longer, and I'm like, just don't.
That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's a baker.
Listen. Yeah, well, listen. There is a very specific type of person who is good at baking, and a very specific person that's good at cooking, with fire. Instantly.
She's good at that too. She went to culinary school.
It's her.
She has me beat in every category, and that's fine. At
least you're taller.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm taller, and I also do the dishes and stuff. So that's my contribution.
That's a huge contribution. Yeah. The best part is when you're like, "Well, I cooked dinner. Here's gnocchi," and then she's like, "You got to cook the dishes. You got to clean the dishes too, and just do it. Don't argue. Just do it. Just trust me."
Wait, so are you cooking, Atlas? I wasn't ever clear on that. Are you cooking as well, or are you coaching me up?
Yes and yes. He's
Atlas
going to tell
you.
I didn't know.
So you're doing it the same way Nina did it, then?
Yeah, just along with you, I guess.
Perfect.
So I'm following. I hope you know I'm following you.
Yeah.
So okay.
And if you haven't seen Hammered and Cheese, everyone, and while they're cooking, I'm going to be mocking them both completely. Most often for Cole's usual choice of camera position, which is usually half of his crotch.
Right in my dick.
Right in his wiener.
Now the question is, will he wear fucking headphones so I don't have to hear this echo?
He usually yeah, but are you wearing the mouthpiece? You're not wearing the mouthpiece, are you? Your mic?
It's on there. The mic. It comes with the mic.
Yeah, but you know what? The problem is you're too close to the phone, so everything's weird. But that's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll do a sound check.
Himself in protest.
Yeah. Well, listen. that saves everyone then a lot of things. Anyways, I gotta get ready and go to a show that's gonna be live and in person. So
okay, well, thanks everybody for listening. A very happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. Tell your racist uncle to go suck a lemon. And thanks everybody for listening. If you want to follow us at Generation Dan in all the places, at Dino the Genetic Marvel in all the places, at Atlas Novak in all the places, at Sniffing Glue 22 in all the places. So
we're in all the places because we are dicks. Yeah. So, and also Hammered and Cheese is going to be on Tuesday at. Ooh,
they'll be all right because they're seeing this live. Yeah.
This is going to be for you. What time are we going to do it?
3:30.
3:30. So it'll be 6:30. It may be 7 because I'm working, so we'll figure it out. But
okay, so
it'll be around that time.
3:30 Pacific or 4 Pacific.
Yeah, it'll be around that time.
Do the math for that.
All right, guys, let's go butt fuck this week.
See you later, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye, everyone.
Bye.